Hello and welcome to Colin Bradley Artcast. I'm Stephen Bradley,
And I'm Colin Bradley.
and in this episode we're trying something a little different. If you're listening to us on iTunes, then it'll be the same as always, but if you're watching us on YouTube, then you'll actually be able to see us, hopefully,
Wow,
if this works.
what a treat for them all.
I know, and it's kind of a special occasion because in this episode we're going to be mainly talking about our Denver trip to Craftsy, which we got back on Friday. So a week, this is coming out on Friday, and it was a week earlier that we landed back in the UK. So we wanted to take the opportunity on the podcast, nice relaxed atmosphere, to talk about our trip. So we've got some questions as well to go through. But should we start off with Denver?
hmm Oh, yes.
So
Magical Denver.
it was magical. It was intense. Let's start from beginning. We left on the Saturday in the UK, and we arrived about 5:30 Denver time, and we were there for 5 days. We left on Thursday night and arrived back on Friday. So you had 5 days. So we had a little bit of time, didn't we, either side of the filming to actually enjoy ourselves a little bit, didn't we?
Mm. Well, the first day was great because we just really chilled out, didn't we, after our flight? And of course, the time difference, 7 hours behind us. But we did very well. I was really surprised. We had lots of warnings before we went.
We
Drink
did.
plenty of water. The alpine air can get to you, and don't drink any alcohol. All these questions, and we followed the rules, and it worked out really well, didn't it?
Yeah, no problems at all dealing with the altitude or anything like that, which was fortunate. But we still had a nice day to relax.
Mm.
And we visited some sites, didn't we? We got to see Union Station.
Yep.
A big
I'm a
fan of
train
trains.
buff,
Yeah,
folks, if you didn't already know it. And I was dying to get onto Union Station. I'd heard about it, and I thought, right, got to see the old American trains. Bit much the same as ours, really, but not a lot to see. But it was still very thrilling.
just a
I
bit
was
bigger, weren't they?
They were a little bit bigger, yes, and the Union Station was lovely. Really, really nice in there. That did knock us for six.
Mm,
Our stations.
mm.
But anyway, enough of that. But yes, a lovely time. And of course the weather was gorgeous, wasn't it?
It was really lovely and hot. It was nice change.
Yeah.
Um, so that was the day off on Sunday, and then we started with the rehearsal on Monday, didn't we? You have one
Mm.
rehearsal day with Craftsy. Well, we had one rehearsal day with Craftsy, where you were able to get used to the set and everything like that. So,
hmm
what was that like for you? It was a bit nerve-wracking, I know, because we weren't quite sure
Yeah.
what we were going to be expecting.
No. Well, they did warn us. They did tell us, the schedule, but it was a bit nerve-wracking. I mean, you can understand it. I'd never done any filming like that before. I'd done DVDs and other things, but this was a little bit more precise and a little bit more upmarket, if I should say so. It was it was very professional, and you got the feeling straight away that that's how it was going to be. And we had to finish in the two days that we had, the Tuesday and the Wednesday. We had to finish. There was no way of, couldn't extend it. That was it.
Mm.
So I knew that there was a little bit of a pressure, and of course I had also the pressure of the teleprompter, which fortunately, folks, I'd given Steve sorted me out a couple of weeks beforehand, with one for my iPod, so I was able to practice a bit, and I was jolly glad I did,
Mm.
because that would have been a very difficult, I think, to have actually. I wouldn't have had a lot of practice on the Monday, and going straight in on Tuesday, Wednesday without the practice I'd had previously at home. It would have been tough, but I got on very well. In fact, it became my friend, didn't it? And I had my
Yes.
picture. I had my picture taken with it as well. I called her Doris uh,
They put up a
because of
picture of Doris Day to have a friendly face to speak to, didn't they?
yeah. Stephanie, the director, asked me who my favourite film star was, and I said, well, Doris Day, and she's always, as always, and still around, just about. And she was always my favourite, and I loved her. So she put a picture of Doris up on the teleprompter to remind me. So I called the teleprompter Doris.
So what was that? It was a bit nerve-wracking, but you did really well on that first day. I mean, there was no like cameras rolling as such, but it was pretty.
No,
It was a pretty sort of intense day, nevertheless,
it
wasn't it?
was, yeah.
Getting used to
Well,
everything.
oh, absolutely. And also, of course, the studio can be put you off too. With all the cameras and the mics and the went behind the scenes that you don't see or never will see, folks. All the editing and so on. Oh, it was so technical, and it does in it. Whilst I was intrigued by it, it did put a little bit of fear into me, thinking, God, I've got to get this right. But the people were lovely. That helped, didn't it, Steve?
It really
all the
did. It really did.
lovely,
Everyone in
lovely.
Denver in general was lovely, but certainly in Craftsy, they're just absolutely wonderful people. They're so professional but so kind and so friendly. It was really like we'd made friends when we were there. You really get close to those people in just a few days. So yeah, Craftsy did really well.
Underlying it all, though, Steve, and I'm sure you felt the same way. Underlying it was that professionalism. We're very accommodating, and we'll do everything we can to help you, but you've got to deliver the goods. I got that feeling, and I thought, okay, but it inspired me to do it, and I hope that I did. We'll find out, folks, later on when it comes out.
Yeah. So we had we had the 2 days after that recording and filming. Was there a bit of, I mean, obviously nerves from day one, but what was it like that first, when the cameras first started rolling?
Um, Not too bad. I didn't fit because I was in familiar territory, wasn't I? I mean, pastel pencils, I've been doing them for 30 years, and I didn't feel nervous while I was doing the actual drawing itself. I felt the pressure on having to keep looking up, keeping stopping, say it again, look up, do this. The instructions were putting me off because when I do my own, as people know here, I just sail along merrily, switch the machine on and switch it off, very relaxed. And I hoped that I was still relaxed when I was doing the artwork, because that's the most important thing of all, that they actually see how it's done. That was probably the thing that I found most, the disjointedness of it all, and keeping having to stop and say it again and say it this way and that way. I mean, after the first day of getting used to that, you stepped in, because you were with us all the time. I don't know whether people realise that, but you were. You were Stephanie's right-hand man. And you said to me, would you like, instead of trying to remember, what I was supposed to say, which at my age is not easy, you said, would you like it on the teleprompter? I said, oh, please. So from then onwards, it was all typed out, and I read it. I hope it doesn't look as though I read it, but I did read it, which was much easier for me. I found that much easier.
It's more like, because this course is the first pastel pencil course that's going to be on Craftsy, there's a lot to cover, and I think that's initially that's where it threw off slightly, because it's like going back to step one, back to basics, kind of in some instances,
Absolutely.
explaining the pencils. So I'm not surprised that there's a lot of information. You think of all our members, if you look back at when you first started, how much there was to learn about what this medium is. You had to convey that all and remember it. So yeah, having it typed out and able to, I mean, the good thing is, it's not something you're not familiar with. Like you said, it's not like you're reading Shakespeare off a teleprompter. It's like you're reading what you already know. It's just reminding you as you're reading it, yeah, I think that was no problem. It sounded really great and natural, and it's a great skill to be able to read a teleprompter anyway. And it does add something to the class.
Oh, it does. It does. It makes it more professional, doesn't it? I mean, I was telling a friend of mine this morning when we were having a chat. I was talking to him about it, and I said, really, if you look at all the newsreaders certainly in the UK, and I'm sure it's the same around the world, they're all using teleprompters, but they don't look as though they are. Everything is so natural. I said, but they're all using it. A newsreader couldn't remember all the things they say,
No,
can
of
they?
course not. Of
It
course
has
not.
to be up. But so I didn't feel that bad, and it's always from my side of the fence when I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, oh my God, have I done that right? Have I said that right? Have I put the pencil in the right place? And all of these fears that go through your mind when you're the other side, this side. But the other side of the fence, then it probably comes out really well, and you can't appreciate that until you actually see it.
Mm. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But but it was lovely. I did really enjoy it. I've got to tell you, in the end, we did discuss this, didn't we, at the end of the course, and so would I do it again? Well, my first reaction was probably not. However, since coming home and reliving all of those moments, if it worked out for us, then I probably would do it again.
Mm.
If the circumstances, I mean, it's got to be financially viable for them and us, and they've got to like it, and the people have got to respond. There's so many factors involved.
Mm.
But if all those come together and you and I decide that yes, this was a viable venture, then I probably would do it again. Yeah.
Mm. So we had 2 days of, like we said, 2 days on set filming two subjects that are going to be involved in the class. So that's coming out in the near future. Really, it's in Crafty's hands now. So we'll keep you all posted and let you know how it's going, and anything we get, we'll tell you about. And it's the really exciting part now is to see, like you said, how it comes out. And we can't wait to share it all with you. It's gonna be really great, and it's gonna be a whole different level of quality. If you like our classes already, then this one should really blow your socks off. So on the last day, we were obviously not flying until the evening, so we had a day to go and explore, and this was everything was done, wasn't it? So we could really relax and enjoy
Oh,
ourselves.
I
And
felt really good that day.
tell everyone where we went on that Thursday.
Well, we were very lucky, very fortunate in getting a young lady who had given her. Well, she didn't give her time. We actually paid her. She was a taxi driver. What do you call it, Stephen, again?
Uber
What was
driver.
the Uber driver? I can't remember the name. Anyway, she went off the book, which was good of her, and we had her from 9:30 to 2:30, and she ended up being our guide. So it was wonderful, and she was a lovely lady, and we got on really well. And she drove us to Buffalo Bill's Museum, which is on Lookout Mountain in Colorado, and the view from there was spectacular. Steve and I both were gobsmacked. I mean, we were already a mile high at Denver. Well, we'd gone another half a mile, hadn't we, up, or at least a half a mile up. So we were just beginning to get a little breathless by then because we were way up high. But breathless in another way when we looked at the view because it was stunning. Well worth the visit, and we loved it, didn't we? And then after the museum trip, we went down into Golden, because Buffalo Bill's Museum is actually in Golden, or in the district of Golden, but you have to go down the mountain to get to Golden, and that's a lovely place too, isn't it? And we had lunch there. It's a fantastic day, and I'll never forget it. It was wonderful. So it topped our trip to Denver, didn't it, Steve?
It did, and then
But icing on the cake.
It did. It really did. It was fantastic, and it just capped the journey brilliantly. And now we've come back, and it's time to look forward to not only the class coming out, but also our own things. So let's move on to what things we've been doing since then. We've just released a Victorian lady on the bridge picture that you've just you did a little while ago. We just released that. It's a lovely sort of landscape with a figure in and it's a massive test for your foliage skills, because you listed it as a masterclass picture because of the foliage, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, the main reason was it was a weeping willow. I don't know whether anybody's had a go at weeping willow. I've had a couple of cracks at it with in the classes, but I wanted to really crack it this time, and I did. I really got to grips with it, but it's really, really hard, and that's what tipped it over to the masterclass. When people try it, see, they're going to find out. But give it a try, folks, because it's a technique which is unique. It's not often that I do trees and I name them. You know, a tree's a tree's a tree's a tree. A tree's a tree. But this one isn't. This is a weeping willow, and it's got to look like a weeping willow because I told them it was one. Anyway, it turned out really well. And you've made a clip of that. I think it's coming out on YouTube as well, just the tree, because I was so impressed. I was so impressed with myself when I saw it back. I thought, gosh, this is pretty good, Colin. And no, but it is really good. And to actually get the techniques right, and I can't think of another medium that you'd be able to do it with, Steve. You know, you couldn't do it with watercolors, and you couldn't get that kind of effect. With oil, possibly. Acrylic, I think pastel pencils really, really prove their worth in this case. And of course, you've got on the right-hand side, you've got another weeping willow, which is close up, even worse.
Yeah.
You know, and that came up very well. So not only have you got a load of foliage and lovely, pretty little flowers and things in there, but you've got a lot of foliage. I don't know anybody, and I'm sure most of you have seen Monet's The Bridge. I can't remember his case. You know the one I'm talking about, where you've got the water lilies and so on. Well, Paul came up with a suggestion that I possibly had that in my mind. Actually, I didn't when I first did it. It was something I'd seen the bridge, and I saw the foliage altogether different because, and the lady wasn't there either, so I put her in. So I kind of concocted the picture because I wanted a bridge first of all over water. That started the ball rolling, and it wasn't really until afterwards that it dawned on me that it was not a million miles away from the idea that Monet had.
Yeah, it is a stunning piece. We've had really lovely comments on it, and I know people are already trying it. So we look forward to seeing them, and you're going to learn a whole load of new techniques there, a load of skills from that picture.
I built them up to it, haven't I? You know,
certainly have. Yeah.
Narrow barges and Scotney Castle. I've been building them towards it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So let's crack on with some questions because I'm itching to get some of these read out. The first one comes from Suzanne, and Suzanne says, "Hello, Colin and Steve. I have painted many of your pastel courses, and I am very pleased with how they have turned out. There is still, of course, a lot of room for improvement. I belong to our art society, and we have been asked to enter a local exhibition. Can I enter my work in that exhibition? If so, should I attribute it to you? If so, please tell me the wording I should use. Thank you for your help, Suzanne."
Well, as you all know, I allow you to use your pictures done from my paintings, attributed to yourself. You don't have to put my name on it. You don't have to do anything. You just say they're your pictures. The only thing we do like is that if somebody asks you, "Gosh, who taught you?" or, you know, "Where'd you get that from?" then tell them that, you know, you are a member of Colin Bradley Art, and they've helped you along. So, God, put the word in for us, but otherwise use your own words. We don't mind. That's the one thing that people find very difficult to understand, that we do this, but, you know, hey, why not? So that's it. Basically, don't worry about it. Put it in as your work. Sign it in your work.
Excellent. Fantastic. The next one is from Carol. "I have learned a lot from you." This is more of a statement that we wanted to include. "I've learned a lot from you that I didn't learn from college. Can you believe it? I have 3 degrees in art-related fields." That's all she said. It's just,
Well, she says it all, really, doesn't she?
I wanted to
Gosh,
mention
I
that
mean,
because it was pretty, that's a
I,
real testament to you, Dad.
well, it is, and I'm flattered. I've got to say that. However, I'm flattered, but not really surprised. I've had this many, many times before where people have said, "Do you know, I went all through art school, and I've learnt more from you than I did there." The thing is, what we do is go straight to the point. Do this portrait, do this landscape, do this animal. This is the way it's done. Give it a go. Does it work? Yes, it does. Great. Finished. We don't go into all the color tones. We don't go into all the mediums. We don't go into the drawings. We don't do any of that. We go straight to the point. Because what I've always felt, and I still feel, that people look at this as a leisure industry. We don't necessarily go out to produce professional artists. We don't go out, but we do. Because we've got quite a few of our members and past members who are now drawing and painting on a professional level. That's a compliment to me, but I didn't go out for that. What I went out for is the leisure industry, to actually bring people like most of you folks out there to go in and enjoy yourself. As I did when I first started. I didn't go all through that. I didn't go through art school. I didn't go through art college. I just picked up a pencil. No, in that case, it was watercolor, and just did it. I didn't learn any from any books or anything. I just did it. I did my own thing. That's what I encourage you to do. What we do is give you the tools, really, to go out and do it. That's the difference, Steve.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. It's a different approach, and it's not knocking the experience of art college at all.
Absolutely
Like
not.
if it's for you, it's for you. It's brilliant, and obviously no regrets, Carol, for having done all that. It's you've learned a lot there, but it's just interesting how much you can learn also by just doing it. The approach that we take.
I would say, though, that, Carol, you probably have learnt more than you think you have. By going through those degrees. You might find as time goes on and you get more proficient at what you do, little things that you've learned will creep in. Think, oh, I learned that. Yes, that's it. Now I can apply it. So you may have, in the end, you might not wasted those degrees. They may actually come in useful.
Great. Thanks, Carol, for the comment. The next one is from Greg. Hello, Stephen. On the webpage, A4 is the paper size that Colin uses. For artwork that is done for sale, is that the size that is used as well? If not, what size is used most often? Thanks, Greg. I thought we could include this because using some of your past experience of when you used to sell your work more regularly, A4 is the size?
I've always liked A4. The reason I like it is because if you have an A4 picture and you mount it, double mount it perhaps, and you frame it up, it actually comes out to a reasonable sized picture. And it's a picture that people can put everywhere. Now, I have done big pictures, really big pictures. And if I wanted to move one of my big pictures, I'd find it difficult because it will only go in one or two places in my home. Whereas if you've got an A4 picture that's mounted up and framed, that will go virtually everywhere. 16 by 12 is an average, I think, framed picture, and it will go everywhere. So an A4, and the other reason I do it is because with pastel pencil work, being a pencil, it doesn't really lend itself to large, great big areas. Whereas if you were going to do them, you'd probably do it in soft pastel like that. So that's the reason I tend to stick to A4. When I'm working, and you see me working on all the pictures, they're generally smaller than that. But that's my choice because of the videoing side.
Yeah.
If I have great big area to cover, it takes longer to cover it. Where if I have a smaller area and I can get the same detail in, it's quicker to do it. So there are reasons why I do it. But generally speaking, the Lady on the Bridge, I think, came out as an A4, but it actually is a bit smaller than that. It's about 10% smaller than that in real life. So I tend to do that. I tend to give you A4.
Okay, that's a great question then, Greg. Thanks for sending that. Now, it leads us on to the next one from Shirley. Colin teaches us to tape off an inch on each side of the paper, but I can't find where he says why. I've been doing it now, but I've had some commissions that I need to tell why I'm doing that. Can you please explain the importance of that?
Yes, I can. I wouldn't use an inch though. Half a
I
centimetre.
think it's actually about half a centimetre or a
Half a
centimetre.
centimetre to a centimetre. It does depend. And really, I just use it. It's the tape that you have to tape it down, or I always choose to tape it down, right? So a centimetre or a half a cent or three quarters, it doesn't matter. Something like that is worth it. But there's another very good point to it, because if you were to do your picture right up to the edge of the tape, or right up to the edge of that half a centimetre or whatever around, and you wanted to frame that, if you took it into a framer, they would want extra because they can't frame it right onto the edge. So always a good idea to have a little bit of extra. A half a centimetre, no, is a bit small really. I would say a centimetre is an ideal. Is ideal for a framer to put your picture behind. It could be that you and him, between you, may suggest a little bit, come into the picture a little bit. Well, that's fine. You've got extra, but that's the reason I do it. You have to have a border around it. I did with all my watercolor work that I did for the same reason.
Well, with the giclée prints that we sell now, we've got another one coming out actually, which is the koala bears, going to be on sale soon. The gallery that we're getting those done with, a good friend of mine mentions, would you like, it would be easier for framers when we're doing the prints to include that gap around the edge, so that if you want to take that and get that framed, then you can do that and there'll be no problems, because him being a framer as well himself, he knows, and you as well know the importance of that.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks,
Good
Shirley.
question.
Yeah, it was a great question, and that brings us to the end of the questions then for this time. And I think we'll call it a day there on this video podcast. If you've enjoyed it and you're watching us on YouTube, then please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and let us know in the comments what you thought. We may do this again. Depends, I suppose, on how well it's received, whether you'd prefer just hearing us.
They may do. I mean, our faces could be put off, but
That's it.
Never mind. They'll just have to listen through iTunes, won't they? Won't see us.
They will. And so we'll be back soon. We've got a feedback show to do now, which is the Wednesday before this goes up. And so if you want to find out any more information on anything that we've got on courses or materials, then just go to colinbradleyart.com, and all the information is there. So there we go. Okay, we'll leave it there then this week. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone for watching or listening, however you have consumed us this week. And that's it. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Enjoy your week.